Okay, here is our first video lecture. This is chapter 1, Becoming a 21st Century Teacher. Um, the learning outcomes are we're going to discuss computers, the internet, social media, and other new technologies affecting students' everyday experiences in and out of school. We're going to describe ways teachers use technology in their work as educators, explain how new teachers can use 21st century technologies to teach 21st century skills to students. And we're going to begin to organize your digital identity as a technology using educator. We're going to focus on what roles does technology play in the lives of students and teachers. What are the 21st century skills and 21st century technologies? That's why we had you do the 21st century assignment. And again, how do you begin building your digital identity? You probably already have one. Today's students, today's students in technology. Basically, what this slide is saying is, the kids that are being born and kids that are under 5, they know nothing but technology, and basically you do too. By second grade, it says 70% play with games and use the internet daily, but I've seen 2-year-olds playing games on the internet. I saw a child the other day at my lab down on Wanish Way playing a video game on the internet, and I asked her how old she was, and she put up 2 fingers. I'm a 2-year-old little girl playing this stuff. So these kids are literally got technology coming out of the womb. Okay, the I generation, that's where you guys kind of fall in. The 8 to 18 to 20-year-olds, also called Generation Z. And you probably have not known a world without cell phones, text messaging, internet, Facebook, all that stuff. When I was young, we didn't have any of this stuff. I mean, we had black and white TV when I was, growing up, 8 years old and whatnot. And it's saying 95% of 12 to 17-year-olds are online. Well, 95% of just about everybody's online nowadays. So you have to know that going in. You're going to be a teacher, you're technologically literate, but your students are going to be much more technologically literate than you. They're going to always find new stuff that you wouldn't even be aware of. So you got to remember all that stuff. It says here, computer use begins with the youngest learners and continues from there. That's true. There's really no gender differences when we talk about technology. There is a digital divide, however, and a technology participation gap, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Parental education impacts technology use, meaning the more the parents are technologically literate, the more they're going to be able to help students or their children. Family income affects technology use dramatically. Again, there's this issue of the haves and have-nots in this digital divide that we'll talk about later. Computer use is different for different social groups. Again, we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. But social groups can be anything from race, gender, age, ethnicity, religion, all these types of things. So computer use is different for all these types of different things. Multiple technologies is the norm. I mean, we use a lot of different technologies daily. And of course, mobile and social media use is very popular. Computer technologies, a computer is an information processing machine. It's just a box full of wires and boards and with a motherboard and stuff. I mean, you're much more smarter than it, but you have to tell it what to do. So that's this fetch execute cycle. I mean, you ask it to do something, you're asking it to fetch, and then it executes what you want it to do, whether it be, show a video, play a music, look at pictures, whatever. And computers obviously play important roles in every area of our society. I mean, we are a computer society. We don't do anything without computers, and generally, we make computers that talk to computers and not people anymore. Um, this issue of as computers become more widespread, they disappear from view. What that means is it's just like a stapler. I mean, you don't even notice them anymore. Back in back in my day when I first started getting into computers, back in 1986, the first Apple computer came out. It was just a little box, and it had a nice, cool screensaver. And I thought, man, that's just the coolest thing in the world. And back then, you saw a computer, like, oh man, I just want to play with this thing. But nowadays, computers are so widespread, you don't even notice they're there. That's all that's saying. Technology and the work of a teacher. Well, what can teachers and students do with technology that cannot be done without it? There's a lot of things. Inside the classroom, instructional tools; outside the classroom, professional resources; and inside and outside the classroom, learning resources. Those are just some of the things we can do with technology that we can do without it. Obviously, we use a lot of technology and computer use in the classroom for remedial work, um, tutoring type things. We use it for different aspects of hunting and finding things on the internet, writing in Microsoft Word, PowerPoints, all those types of things. So we use technology a lot for different things. We have different electronic and digital tools. I just mentioned some. We have technology-based libraries. The FAMU library is now online. You should take advantage of that. We have unprecedented access to potentially useful information. We have things, we Google everything. There's a thing called Google Scholar that gives you scholarly stuff. And again, the library has databases of all types of scholarly information that we need. Um, we have technology-based textbooks that you can make, and you can be the publisher, editor, and writer of a classroom text. Um, and then we have learning environments, and that's where the classroom can now be something beyond the school day. And we'll talk about that as the course progresses. But basically, doing things like real time communications with other schools um, anywhere in the world, these types of things. I mean, you can go to the Smithsonian Institute, you can do webinars, you can do all these different things. That's what that's talking about. Um, we also have technology-based teaching tools, which spent more time with individual students, or assistive technology to better meet students' needs. And we're going to do a whole lecture on assistive technologies. And basically, these are the things I was talking about: remedial tools, practice tools, tutoring tools, those types of things. And then we have a technology-based office, which just makes life easier. It's where we can make databases, we can do all those types of things. And as teachers, you'll be needing that stuff. When we talk about 21st century skills, they're the abilities that students need to succeed in highly technological, information-based society. So, what these skills do that are not, some are not necessarily affixed to technology. We want students to be able to think critically. Now, we can do that with or without technology. Technology helps. We want them to make informed judgments, solve complex problems, think creatively. Again, computers can help with that, but we can also do it without them. Communicate and collaborate with each other. Um, Again, that's done more on computers nowadays, texting and all those types of stuff. Use information in innovative ways. That's pretty technological specific. And take responsibility for one's personal and civic life. You know, if we're going to talk technology with this last one, we're going to talk about ethics on the internet. Um, Obviously, we don't want students looking at things they shouldn't be looking at, those types of things. So we want to have our students take responsibility for their personal and civic life, particularly with technology. 21st century learners with 21st century technologies. Teaching and learning 21st century skills demand that teachers use 21st and students use 21st century technologies, and those are computers, websites, and this thing called Web 2.0 tools. And those, the Web 2.0s are stuff like Flash and other things that make movement and make things highly interactive that you see nowadays that you didn't see, 10 years ago, 5, 10 years ago. If any of you have an iPad, you'll see there's some things you can't look at because iPad does not support Flash, and it says you can't do this because it doesn't have a Flash player. So there's some things like movies you can't watch and movement on different sites that you can't see. But everything is becoming so standardized now that that's not going to be an issue much anymore. When I first got my iPad a few years ago, that was happening all the time. Nowadays, I'm not seeing it as much because people realize that if they want to get their content out, they've got to make it available through all different sources, Androids, phones, iPads, the whole gamut. They've got to make everything standardized, so they're starting to do that stuff now. Technological pedagogical content knowledge. What's this word pedagogical? What does that mean? Well, pedagogy is simply the art of teaching children. Peda meaning children. Gaji or gagical meaning teaching. Technological pedagogical content knowledge, or TPAC, is how teachers bring together three forms of knowledge to produce exciting learning experiences. And that's content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, which basically the methods you're going to be using to do it, and then the technology that comes with it. How are we going to use technology to get all this stuff done? Your must-have technologies for teaching. Not sure that you must have all this stuff, but educators' lists vary and change, but reflect interest on multiple technologies. The issue is here, many schools dictate what technologies teachers must know and use. So when you become a teacher, the schools out there are going to have everything laid out for you in terms of, we use Blackboard here at FAMU. There are other things that Leon County has their own type of Blackboard. The FAMU DRS has its own type of thing. So when it comes to administrative stuff like that, that's what you're going to use. Because you're going to be using it for instruction, professional things, and interactivity. So there are different types of things that we're going to be using technology for, and you're going to have a list of stuff that the school is going to provide you, but you can always use your own spin and different technologies. In fact, most schools encourage that as long as it doesn't cost them money. Strategies for learning new technologies. Learn technologies while teaching academic content. What we're saying here is there's always going to be new technologies out there. There's always going to be something cool coming out. And you want to try to add that stuff throughout the year. If you can do it 2 or 3 times, great, probably more. You want to expand your technology categories. You don't want to be pigeonholed or in a bubble with just the same old technology. You want to try new things. You can do that by creating small technology groups, which we're going to do in this course, and focus on learning for students and, more importantly, yourself. Try to find things that appeal to you that you might want to try with your students. Building your digital identity as a teacher. Well, I know a lot of you in this course are not going to be teachers, and I have to teach this as an education course. But some of these things are going to apply to you in your professional lives. Um, and you want to make a digital identity, and you want it to address important goals. Now, they have 3 of them here, and that's a multimedia resume. That's something that we'll talk about too later on down the road, of how to make a multimedia resume that you can send to people that communicates not only your technological knowledge but your knowledge of whatever you're going for. Um, Learning resources and teaching tools, uh, that demonstrates your ability to use these technologies, and they're mainly going to be interactive. So you want to be able to show that, and you can do that through blogs and, again, multimedia resumes and stuff like that. And then this notion of modeling technological models for students. Show the ways you model the use of technology for your students. Show them how you do things and see if they like it. And they may have other ways of doing it that you like. Don't be rigid about having things done your own way as a teacher. I mean, there are things that you're going to have done your own way, but let your students experiment, and hopefully you all learn something by that. Digital identity and social media. Well, we have the social media. Now, I encourage my students not to use their real names, especially if they're going to be teachers, because not only can your employer see it, but your students can see it as well. So, personally, at this level as a professor, I really don't care. So I do use my name and my own name on Facebook, and I say what I want. I really don't care what anybody thinks about it, as far as my employers go. But you're going to be putting on writing, images, videos, all that stuff, and you might do some political or religious or something like that you know maybe students shouldn't see about you. It's really kind of none of their business, but it can be something that could be a hard spot if you put something controversial on something like Facebook, and your kids come back the next day and say, hey, here she showed this picture of with cussing in it or something. Who knows? So you kind of want to tone that down when you're doing stuff on social media, or just use a different name. Uh, Again, social media communicates your digital identity to students, colleagues, administrators, and families. So, take it with a grain of salt. I advocate that you do not use your name if you're going to be a teacher. Use something else. Be creative. Um, Learning goals for teachers and students. How do you create highly interactive, inquiry based learning? Well, highly interactive is organizing educational activities in which students are active creators, shapers, evaluators, learners, all these different things of, what you're giving to them. How can they be involved more? Generally, we do that with a lot of hands on work, and that's hands on using a computer. Inquiry based is preparing, delivering, and assessing lessons while students think critically and creatively about the learning they do and the technology they use. So, again, how can we get them to think critically? We do that through inquiry based learning, and that's where they are looking for stuff. Um, and they make critical decisions on what they like, what they don't like. And we do that through reflection. That's why I have you guys do a lot of reflecting. Reflection, I feel, and most of my colleagues feel, is one of the best ways to know what the students are thinking and know if they're learning. Okay, so, and it also gives them voice. It lets them say what they want to say, and as long as they're doing it in a respectful manner, it should be taken to heart. You know, everybody's not going to like everything, so you have to think about that. Finally, last slide here: learning goals and for teachers and students. Highly interactive inquiry based learning connects to the 21st century skills and national education standards for students and teachers, and that's called NETS, the National Education Technology Standards. And we're going to talk about this NETS in another lecture, but there's two types, there's actually three. NETS S is for students, and NETS T is for teachers, and there's another NETS A for administrators. So in an assignment, you're going to be looking at some of the net standards for teachers and students. But just like everything else that is standardized in today's educational world, so is the technology. Every school has net standards. Every district, Leon County School District, Gadsden County School District, Jefferson County, so forth and so on, they all have to adhere to the National Educational Technology Standards. And we'll look at one of the, we'll look at, I think we're going to look at Gadsden County's net standards that they use a little bit down the road. Student learning is the goal of teaching. Yes, and students must, got a typo there, must be creative and innovative, flexible thinkers. And that's what technology can do for us, is we can have them be creative, innovative, and flexible thinkers. Okay, that's the end of this lecture. Again, as I explained in class when we were doing face-to-face, you will have an exam on this. Not everything on these PowerPoints will be on the exam, so you have to have the book. You were shown how to get the book for free for 14 days. So I would take advantage of that, and we will be having our first quiz this week. So get it done. Thank you.